Hi again, everybody. Well, it's that time of the year of the Gregorian calendar year where I'm going to do an end of 2025 report. And it starts off with a flat tire from Staub's and a missing tire as the spare is gone. And the cable it was being held in place with is either snapped off clean or was cut by a cutting tool. I don't know. So that's just one of the many great, wonderful, exciting little things going on in 2025. I got a lot more done this year than I would have gotten had I not had life-saving surgery July 25th of 2025. So would have possibly not even been a video because it might have been dead by now. But I've got a pile of pallets here I've been saving up for a friend of mine. That ain't all of them, that's just some of them there. There's a couple over here too. They're being saved up for helping them build a hen house. I've gotten lots of projects started, a lot of projects in motion. Let's see if I can try to keep them sensible and contiguous without actually overlapping too much. Right in front of us, literally last night, I got all this free timber. Now, as you can see, it's full of wood screws, but it's free, 100%. I just had to climb up in a dumpster and pull it out. And there's a lot of it, and so I'm going to make the most of it. And I haven't yet counted how many there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20. There's at least 20, maybe 25. Some are a little rough, some are really good. Pretty much all of them have screws in them. But it's fairly straight timber. Very small knotting, meaning that it was pretty high quality wood. Only like 1 or 2 pieces. That piece maybe. Yeah, 2, 3 pieces are salt treated, meaning they were probably from the restroom in the place. Probably. There were other timbers in there, but apparently either they dumped the whole dumpster before I got to it, or somebody else like me was around and got them instead. So, either way, but they're free, they're here. Now, what they're sitting on, you may or may not recognize that. It's not sitting where it was sitting. It was sitting up in the garage. It still needs to be completed. It's a workbench. Now, when I came here, this was inside that shop, and the shop was pretty much just an empty room down to dirt floor. As you can imagine, it's anything but now. But this thing was on the ground. I put it up on 4 wheels. It was straight through there, but somebody we won't name ran into it and bent it in the middle. That's not that big of a problem. That can be fixed. In fact, I'm probably going to put shelves, drawers in this thing from both sides, so it's probably just kind of holding it in place as a placeholder at the moment until I get in there and do some serious work on it. Rolls real well. I've literally pulled it to the garage and back from the garage on those wheels. It did tip over once this last time, but the road was in a lot worse shape the last time I pulled it through over there compared to the time that I pulled it out of there, because it has much more chunky rocks at the intersection. We won't point out the rocks because they're just rocks, but be that as it may, I gotten lots and lots of free stuff. Now, I don't remember if I bought this the year before. That sheet metal there, it's only part of what I bought. $5 a sheet. All this metal here is free from the same people that gave me these big aluminum bars and that steel bar tubes. And so I've got all that metal completely for free. Well, everything you see there was for free. No, let me correct that. Some of the metal underneath was from a relative's place, and my brother owned it, and I paid him $50 for it. But it was still worth it. These two mowers and that spreader were out on the side of the road. They were free. The exercise machine here and that one there were free. This was under that same truck there, and this was part of a repair job. The only reason you could call this free is because we asked to get that stuff back when all those parts had been replaced because they were just completely shot. And I think in one of my Sabbath reports I posted the fact of that event. So I don't figure I'll revisit it right now. Let me look over here if there's anything really stands out as new. Well, that's more of the free material that I got, which, believe it or not, I mostly got that for zinc content. Although I might use some of the rest of it for brackets to hold up cardboard insulation and foam insulation. Mostly it's there because I want to strip it for zinc. A lot of stuff in here. Some of these air conditioners and things like that I got this year. Again, some of it's just scrap metal. Some of it might even have working motors. That piece right there, there was a big step in there that's eventually going to be moved around. It's partly dismantled. I never got the thing reinstalled on the other side, but we'll address that here momentarily. So, again, a lot of things happen over there. About double the number of cans in my can collection for thermal casting, and that's eventually going to be important. I had to do some work on the little blue tractor. That's what this hydraulic bucket's for, although I've got so many hydraulic buckets you'd never guess if they were for anything. And for this right here was I was filtering yuck out of the oil that was clogging up the draw tube and making the tractor's hydraulics not work. I also had to pull the starter off and clean it because something in there had clogged up the starter so it wouldn't work. And had to replace that light bulb up there so that I could see inside. But it's on a timer switch, I guess. So it only comes on at night when these two come on. In here, I've emptied this out a little bit, and I'm still emptying it out, and I'll go into greater discussion of how and why after a while. And then I'm going to clean this out and possibly move it up to the house where it's easier to get to and less of a pain. I still don't know if I'm going to try to restore this and make it run, or if I'm just going to go ahead and scrap it out and make it into a planter, because I have lots of them now. That was another thing. I got some the year before, but I got a couple new ones this summer. So if we go past the back of the little pony truck there, three of these refrigerators have been here for a year or more, and then another one here on this shelf are all new arrivals. I'm going to see if I can't fix that shelf up enough to at least use part of it in the shop as a quick storage bin. Again, these right here, I don't know if they're repairable. Probably just going to end up using them as planter boxes. Although I'll be pulling the cooling systems out of them anyhow, because A, there's no reason to leave that out there in the field. And B, if I can make them run, that'll help one of my bigger grandiose plans of potentially making a giant freezer. These batteries were all in the shop, in the barn part. They were all back in there and on the ground, and eventually my plan still is to condense these into two very large high capacity storage batteries, probably 24 or 48 volts a piece or something DC. I don't know. It'll take some work to get them up to where they need to be, obviously, since they're all dead batteries from forever. Some of those batteries are 60 years old probably. Some of them are, well, at least 40. And then some of them are younger than that. This gate was back in that stuff that I said I bought from my brother. Came from the old farm. And the reason it's here right now is because I've moved it around using it during the summer. I even had to weld one of the ends on. Some of that weld right there. And oops. This weld that's got grind marks on it. And down at the bottom, because I needed it for another thing I'll discuss here in a moment. And I'll say, remember that gate. I built that whole little shed up there. Some of my tools are still out by the job. Now this little shed here is going to be a temporary holding pen. This pen in general, I'm not done with this project. This pen in general is going to be raised up to at least 6 or 7 feet. As high as you see that bar, that timber right there across through here, and that timber right there, all the way around. I've got fence wire. Some of it's still rolled up. This too was given to me by my same friend that gave me the refrigerators. And other than it's got a little dinkle in the middle of it. Still good wire. And then I got this other wire. So hopefully I have enough that I don't have to. There's 2 layers of wire. There's one piece, but it's wrapped around itself. I'd rather not cut that if I can avoid it. So getting back to the shed. This is old sheet metal that I also got off my brother. I didn't have to pay for this stuff. It was free. Flimsy sheet metal. And then some of that same roofing I was telling you I bought over there on the other side. And these 5 pieces here, $5 a sheet. Some of this is new flashing that I bought. I say new. 8, 9, 10 years ago. I'm not sure anymore. Oh, I can't push it that direction. Oh, I hope it ain't stuck in there. It's going to be fun. It's rained. And since it's rained, there we go. Neighbors going by. I'd rather not get seen just because I don't like being seen by people. Anyhow, so that's going to be a feed pan. I got to put a little hole in there into that piece of plywood right there, so I can put a feed chute in, so I can feed them from the outside, and it'll go in here and they'll eat out of it. And it'll be dry in here. I put that light up in here. I bought 40 of these last year, and it's wired down underneath the shop, down under the edge of the building, and it goes. Some of that big old fourplex I've got thousands of feet of, and so that fourplex goes all the way around and down under that propane tank, or no, it goes around refrigerators, that's right, past those tiller bases. Someday hopefully I'll be showing you those as one complete tractor pulled tiller rig. Not today, but hopefully someday. So that's generally dry enough and weatherproof enough to make a good place to hide from bad weather. This is not only just more of the same sheet metal. some of the less high quality ones, but some other stuff that you notice there's little bits of strips of flat metal, and then there's those angle iron. The angle iron are completely unrelated to the other sources. That's been here for decades. So it's something that the previous owner bought. I've almost entirely used up every bit of the oak that was in here. I've got to go buy some more. My little separator lath is in here. I'm leaving it there so that if I go in here and I do buy some more timber, I can just go in there and flip this back. Now there is timber over here. Don't get me wrong. It's just bigger timber. It's heavier, like 8-inch, 10-inch, and 12-inch type stuff. So I'm trying to hold off on using that if I can. Use the thin stuff first and save the thick stuff for special work. Especially if I have to cut something that needs to be actually square. Because this stuff is mostly, it's what they call seconds. And it's mostly crooked. Some of it, well, like that one piece over there is warped and split. It's just a bunch of random offshots, and it's kind of like you take, chances, grab bag thing, what you're going to get. So, these pieces of metal were kind of a half-ass attempt at making a roof rain shed in there, and it didn't work. But it occurs to me now that I have them over here. See how they get these uniform little notches cut in them? I'm going to make these somehow, get some kind of outriggers and try to make these into shelves. That'll give me lots more shelf space in here. My 108-gallon fuel tank is outside, mainly because of the fact that I've been working inside. Oh, this thing was covered in shelves. Well, now it's not because they're in here. Let's go in here and do it real quick. Run on. Oh yeah, and kind of so you see the aluminized cable sheath out there and in here. That all came from the same place as those 2x4s came. They were throwing all that out. Perfectly good aluminum conduit. Sure, it's random lengths, but there's probably 80-90 feet of it. I upgraded my collection of steel over here. I guarantee it's every bit of 1,000 pounds, maybe closer to 2,000 pounds. Not counting the amount I've already used on every kind of project. Don't remember if I did one of the freestanding field feeders that I have out there or not. Got a lot of nice high quality tools for cheap. It's not really much point showing, but I got a whole Kurt brand towing starter kit that had everything, including where is it? It's underneath this. Yeah, one of them highfalutin lock-in pins and the key to it. So it's got the key, and then it's got a normal pin. And there's other parts of it here. This, I believe, is part of it. Yeah. So I got, that was only 40 bucks at the thrift store. Those thrift store places are a great place to get hitches if they don't know how much a hitch is worth, because they'll often underprice them and make them really a great deal. Mom spent a while sorting a bunch of nuts, bolts, and screws and hardware. And so that made this a lot more neat and orderly than compared to what we had. It's far, so there's some more right here. It's far from perfect, but it's much improved. Got a lot of other heavy duty hitches and stuff. I've needed to put all my hitches in one place so that they're easily indexed. I've got enough for every single truck frame, all at the same time. Found back in the back one of my little heaters. I would have been able to save some of my outdoor garden crops. That'll be more to mention later. I worked a little bit in the winter on that pulley, but never finished it. And I'm going to get the indexer out and put it on Bridgeport. One reason I never finished was I'd had the during the fall, winter, this thing blew up its capacitors. It turns out this motor had been hit by lightning. The reason it looks a different shade now than the box on top of it is because of the fact that it's been rebuilt. It's had the whole field's been rewound. It's got new bearings. It's got new paint. The Balder sticker was actually on another part of that same sticker was with it, but they somehow managed to get it off without damaging it and put it back on. I'm not going to pull that off, but I've got a whole bunch of whole new bank of capacitors in there, 9 of them. I got a box of the old ones out there. I got a big 400 watt overhead HID sodium vapor lamp for 20 bucks that I've got to go and install somewhere on the property someday. But I'm not going to show it because it's all kind of disassembled right now. I've been in here cleaning and organizing. Those shelves were the shelves that were on the back of that truck for a year or more. All these shelves were sitting back there. I started to populate it with various things. You see some boxes. The whole far corner that I can't really get in because I don't have enough light, I don't think. Yeah, it doesn't really show that well that there are pickle jars back there. Bunches of them, 40 or 50 of them, half gallons and 1 gallons up back in there just for shelf storage. And they are and way back in the back I got about 90 feet of wire shelf for my future remodel, which hopefully will be something you'll see on here someday. Future remodel of the kitchen in the house. Got 90 feet of that wire shelf material, and it's I wonder if I can get up in there without hurting myself and kind of show this a little better. I mean, I have a very short quick expose on it, so if I can't, I won't worry about it because I've already given a little better description to it in the past. Just kind of one of the deals that this doesn't have a whole floor, so you gotta go slowly. Yeah, see back here I've got all this shelf in here, and I've got 90 linear feet of it here, and for 25 bucks. That's a great deal. That's about $400 new. And then see here I've got pickle jars. Never did take them apart or clean them. You know, didn't dump all the crap out of them. I just put them where they were. Mom got me that chop saw sometime in the past for like 40 bucks or something. Ryobi aluminum frame. Nice machine. Really good machine. And I think that was last year. Anyhow, so I got these shelves up, and that was one of the very first things I finished after. I started this in the winter when I was still really sick before the surgery, but I finished it just here a while ago and after the surgery, and now it's in motion and in use. Now again, you wouldn't know the difference maybe, but this was just all the way up across through here to the top and over with crap. And I've moved a lot of it, condensed it, even thrown away a lot, and I'm probably going to end up throwing away more. Like a lot of these boxes that are weird shapes, some of these old jugs will probably get burnt. And stack all my garbage can lids in one place. I've got cans for all of them and then some. Stripped old things like that home bakery, I just pull the motor out of it and pull the guts out of it and compress it down for space and metal. One day I'd like to fix my this just needs some wiring. It's a beautiful old Sunbeam two-sided waffle iron. I used to use it until the wires burned out of it. That's that big diesel tank I bought forever ago at the salvage yard, and still have yet to put it up on a stand so that I can use it. Big battery cable in here, I guess. Or a welder cable? Yeah, it's a big cable. What is that attached to? Wow, I've been needing something like that for a long time. Didn't realize I had that till just now. I'm like, man, look at that. I need a ground strap for my little welder. I might be able to get my little welder back online here pretty soon. I'm going to let that hang up like this a minute so I can see it until I can figure out. Oh, oops. Little camping chair back in here. I used to just throw crap back in here. It's a really terrible design wrench, by the way. That's why it's back here and not somewhere else. Going from a report to an excavation. You know, I don't even know what those are, but it's probably some kind of a medicine cabinet or something. I don't know. Feels like it's a coal mine. Yeah. That was what was holding me up from using that thing, was the fact that I didn't have a good ground strap. I'm glad I found that. That is really great. This is tin sheet metal that I bought at the same time as that tank over there and that polyethylene tank. I knew it was back here. I knew it. I'd forgotten it was back here. I'm going to need that too. So, back in a bunch of stuff. That was $1. It was in a perfectly good box. And it had never been opened. It sat back there in the dirt until the bottom rotted off. And I didn't know it was even in there. And if you look, it's still in its packing. It's never been opened. And it's a printer. It's been shipped to somebody in the past and donated. And it was sold for $1 in a box. That right there is the blown up capacitors, by the way, that were in that phase converter. I am so glad I found that. That is going to help me so much. I was worried I didn't have a ground strap. Lo and behold, I've got a ground strap now. Be a little bit tricky, but I'm going to take that and I'm going to replace this garbage ground strap here. That is an attempt. I was trying real hard to set it up where I could put a swivel ground head on it, but it wasn't working very well. Finally broke down and used one of those free tools that they sent me that I told them not to, because I needed an air impact wrench, and that was the only thing around there. So I had to use it. Didn't want to. It works, and if you use it very sparingly, it probably worked for a while. And I'll try to not use it very much, especially since I told them I wasn't going to use their tools. And that made me a liar by even using their tools. Didn't use them for over 2 years though. So up here, all these hangers and the metal bars, and the metal bars came from the other side of the shop on the south side, but all these hangers here across through here were in there, and eventually my idea is I've got a plan in my head how to convert those into straight pieces of welding rod, which will make them, much more useful to me, and they'll take up a lot less space. I'll just box them up in something where I can pull out a few now and then for a job. Use them with a torch or TIG welder, which that ground strap there that I was talking about is for the TIG welder. It's up here. Alright, now see this hay right here. I got about really close to 6 tons of hay this fall because we were blessed for a little money from some people in the church. I got about 6 tons of hay, and that's some of it. I'm going to shift gears for a moment. This is a big, huge cable I've had for a long time. I thought it was 196 feet. It turns out it's actually 208 feet. And then there's a couple plugs and stuff that I'm going to be able to make a really long 3-phase slash single phase. I'm going to intentionally make it where it's both single phase and 3-phase through a switching box. And that way each end will have a single phase. It'll have a single phase inlet and a single phase outlet. And then it'll have a 3-phase inlet and a 3-phase outlet. Same way, that so that you just run it out from whichever origination that your power source is to a destination as much as 200 feet away. I had to move the little quad runner out for room for the hay. That camper shell was another freebie. The sheet metal and the glass was ruined. I may make another camper shell back out of it, but I think I'm going to make a drying rack for drying mint with. I did really good on mint the last couple of years. Mr. Snookums came to us, I guess, the year before, and he's still here. Harvey and Henry are not. Harvey died. Henry went to the market. We don't know what killed Harvey. He may have eaten a poisonous plant. Mr. Snookums and Mr. O'Malley were free roaming for a while. They tore up the apple tree and utterly killed the peach tree. It's gone completely, except for the stump right there. They're pretty destructive monsters. They clean up a lot of weeds too, but they're pretty destructive. Even bit the tops off of some beautiful bell pepper plants we had up here. This itself all started, well, yeah, it started over the late spring, early summer. Mom's just not got on a limb, started buying plants from people. The strawberries were from the store, and they were in other pots, and they ended up in here. This is a sage. It's almost freeze-proof. It started off as a pot, I think. I don't remember if she got this from the store or from there's a lady who's donating plants to the thrift store. Now in here is garlic. There were tomato vines in here. They've died in the frost. That's what those stumps are. There's a couple other pots. These pots here, they have the stumps of bell peppers in them that they fought valiantly, but eventually the frost killed them, and because the goats bit the tops off. Here's more tomato vine from that summer crop. They didn't really make a lot of tomatoes, but I did make some canned, I wouldn't call it tomato chutney, but it's a pickled tomato. There's some garlic in here if it grows. A couple of them will pop their heads up. Not many. These, somebody donated some yarrow to the thrift store, and it's in here. And this is lentil. It's been frostbitten pretty hard in the last freeze because it was too dry. But it's not dead yet, at least not all of it. Looks really bad, looks really wilty, and the tops probably need to be trimmed off and fed to the babies before they rot. I thought about trimming off before I got wet and eating them, but then I didn't know if they were going to live or not, so I didn't want to eat them if they were going to be alive. But now that they're dead, I'll just clean them off and feed them to the goats. More garlic, not very many there. These are elephant garlic, which of course is part of the leek family, but they are still related to garlic. And these are volunteers that came up down on the sand pile, and I put them in one of these tubs. These tubs here had the tomato vines in them originally. My air compressor's out here getting rained on because I had to recharge the air in the house because we still have filter problems. There's that TIG welder out here getting rained on. It's not in the best place, obviously, and then the packing and everything getting rained on. But in theory, most of the rain's passed for the minute. Same with my rock hammer. It's all going to quit working eventually. So, this table here, I got this table for $5 at the thrift store the other day. This timber has been waiting a long, patient wait to end up being part of the kitchen rebuild. And now it's got more timber down there to join with it. But it's sitting over here. I got those epoxies at the thrift store this summer too, for like $50 a case. So it's about $100. I mean, it's like $300 if you paid it full price for it. These pieces, remember I said I disassembled a step. These 3 pieces were the steps on that. I borrowed them over here where that cement block is to lift this thing up, since the cab on this thing is kind of separated from the frame, and you got to put a hydraulic jack under it to lift it up. And I've been doing my canning in here because of the fact that my canning, this is the only place I've got a gas flame right now. Until this thing runs out of propane, I need to use it as best I can for cooking on, so I don't have to come up with something more complicated. I had stored a whole bunch of expensive plumbing stuff and fixtures and tools that I'd gotten from a friend in the church inside there, but a lot of that went to the shop. This thing had to have the exhaust system replaced on it up to the point of the muffler there. That's why their sudden goes from dusty, rusty to shiny. I'm not going to crawl under there to show you. This is broken screws from them 3 pieces of wood I got, and the plywood, fiberglass is from that. So, yeah, I don't know how easy it is to see under there. Let me make certain I'm zoomed on. Yeah. The amount of new stuff versus old stuff. Looks like he patched together a job. I can't really see it very well, but it looks like he didn't. Yeah, he didn't use all new material. He just cobbled something together. But well, it was only $200, so I just figured, well, better than nothing, hopefully. And so he didn't put a lot of effort into it, but it works. Kind of. It feels like it's restricted real bad. Feels like I'm driving around with a clogged exhaust system, but for the time being, it'll just have to do. This, more garlic, and the reason it's under screen wires because something was biting the tops off of it for a while. Probably squirrels, I don't know. Those tomato pots were over here, with the 2 that are, including the one with the sage. They've been moved around the other corner. All this rope, see the dangly, feathery looking stuff? That was cucumber vines. We had, this whole area was just swarmed with cucumber vines, and we had probably 40 pounds, 50 pounds of cucumbers all told. And Mom ate some, used some for her bug bite problem, and used, I pickled a bunch. There's more of the hay I bought. Again, 6 tons of hay. Plus a bale that I've already used up where that ladder's standing and those cement blocks are. It was a bale all that wouldn't fit underneath the roof here. So all that hay, and I'm getting wonderful mileage out of it. It's really good, high quality hay for what I need for goats. And so for $580, now he said it'll probably cost more next time, and I'm like, well, I can expect that. It's still going to be a good deal if the bales are still this size. He can make them $50 a piece and it'll still be a good price. $50 a piece would be $600 in hay, and then a $200 fee for my brother to drive them over, which would be $800, but still it'd be a great deal. This may last me 2 years, I don't know. Now, I got this at the thrift store the other day. Hopefully it's thawed out enough because I need to, it's still cold inside. The frost hasn't even melted inside it. I left this thing open, and it's been open about, 12 hours. And there's still ice in the bottom of it. That is one well-built freezer. The light doesn't work because somebody's cut the cord to it, and there might be other reasons, like there might be an electrical issue in there that they couldn't fix. I don't know, there's silicon dabs around where there might have been screws, and this may or may not be a new freezer seal lip on here. There is some cases of where it needs some more. It's going to frost up until this is fixed, but I think I can fix this. It was a locking freezer with a key at one point, but it won't necessarily have to be a locking freezer, and even if it is, I don't need a key for it. But I will need to go ahead and repair this somehow. I have a feeling that probably, even though I probably can't get that off of there without destroying it, I might be able to come up with a way to solve this, glaze this over with some epoxy or something, smooth it out, and get by with that. Probably somebody sat on it or slammed it, something like that. That's probably what happened. Is that it had one of those locking keys. And it wouldn't be hard to get another one or make one, but I don't know that I'll bother with it. We'll just see. Because locking it does make it stay tighter closed, and keeps people from free pilfering it. And if it popped open in the wind, you don't want raccoons in there eating your food. I'm always catching more raccoons. I don't know if it's evident that I cleaned this. It was completely, in fact I had to clean it partly because there's a bunch of nails and screws in here that I had to pick up. Those are more yarrow. This is a weird mustard plant started growing last year, and one of them out in the field grew, and I ate it, and it was wonderful stuff. A little musky, but whatever it is, I say mustard type plant because it's not mustardy as such. It's not sharp, it's really mild. And there's another one over here too. All I can think is this came from where I found the seeds growing, that this probably came in some hay we had from somewhere else, somehow. But I'm going to try to cultivate it if I can, because I think it'll make a good food crop. So I cleaned this all out. I'm going to have to eventually wire in some sonic disruptors to scare off the critters, because they come out here and they steal tomatoes, and especially the cherry tomatoes, and they bite the tops off of some of these garlic and stuff. So, they're not doing a lot of damage, but they're doing enough damage to annoy me. I still have to put a new light under there. I got like that light strip I was showing you earlier. I can show you another one down here in the milk room. This field's not being used. Let me go look at the field here briefly and show you about that first. I know this is probably one of my longer videos, but that's no surprise. I might cut out some parts to shorten it up if I can figure out how to edit some dead space. Oh yeah, I got 7 tons of free timber wood out here. It's a trap to catch varmints. About 7 tons of free timber wood to pick through. It ain't the best stuff, but for some of what I'm doing, it's perfectly fine. We had well problems with the main well. I started working on this other well. If you ever remembered seeing this before, you see the pieces of siding-like material on the ground? And some of these bricks, like these bricks, used to be a little well house piece in there at one point. And these pieces of concrete slab here were the bond beam. Well, I've got another form going in. This is where I was last using that little welder before the cable burned up on it. So I need to weld the last of that rebar in. I need to safety that. See, those are the future truck bed boards for my International. It's not here rotting. We're supposed to be here this long. I'm going to use them to create a safe platform. And the idea is in that old well pump, the one that was in there was a jacuzzi jet pump. And its foot on there was completely destroyed. Doesn't work. So we got a new submersible pump that we want to put in there. The new submersible pump will go right there. And it's supposed to be like a 1.5 horsepower pump. Let me see if I still have it or somebody made off with it while I wasn't looking. I wouldn't be surprised nowadays. I walk away from things and forget they're there, and then I don't notice that they're... Nope, it's still there. Yeah, if you look all the way down there, under the little box behind the level, that long, tall, skinny box there, got a well pump in it. Still in the box. It's from that goofy Chinese Vevor brand. Vevor got them into a lot of stuff, and they're still surviving. I don't know if it's because they're good or because of the fact that they're just, you know, prolific, well expanded before the tariffs and stuff. Which I'm all for the tariffs per se. We just, more than that, I just think we need to have more American manufacturing. Anyhow, so the idea is to make a big concrete slab here. You see these, that was originally there as just to keep the boy goats out that were in here so they wouldn't harass the well people. Well, now the goats are gone. I'm going to use those as temporary walls to start with, and I'm going to build up against them with, there's a couple more panels over there. These pieces of insulated garage door, they're 16 feet long. I'm going to cut them in half so that they're 8 feet long. And I'm going to use them as insulated interior panel. And then I'll seal around them and make them weatherproof and stuff. Before all that goes in, I've got a bunch of big tanks down at the base, down at the shop in the back to, not in the basement, in the shop to put in here and plumb up, including those tanks on the other side of the fence. The reason the cement mixer's over here is for the express purpose of mixing concrete. It's on the three-wheeler, which I had worked on and even had to pull the wheels off and get new. I guess that was a year before, anyhow. And it needs some more help with the carburetor, I think. You see the little bits of what rusty rock here. I've been mining, if you will, freehand mining, a bunch of hematite, supergene formation hematite from right here. I would not have known about it if the goats hadn't decided to make a dust bowl here at one point, and a dust bath, if you will, bath instead of a dust bowl. And over time, there's a thin layer of hematite in here that little bits of it keep coming out of the ground with the erosion, and it goes up into the hillside over here. Don't know how much it is. I have about, not counting just this, but including stuff I already have at the shop, about 250 pounds of this, and that doesn't count the ore that's still in the vuggy quartz from a vein, which is not near as rich as the supergene here. You know, this tree is on its way out. They circumscribed it enough that it's dying and it's fallen over, and so eventually I have to pull that out of there. Just want to try to protect that big Boston ivy, because eventually I'd like the Boston ivy to be able to stay there somehow. Prop it up on some kind of pole or another, I don't know. Something like a piece of cedar, so that it can be up there and be a big ivy. The bees love that thing. So just separate the ivy from the trunk of the tree. The tree isn't factually dead yet, but it's going to be dead soon. And besides, I'd like to get the last of that redwood, heartwood out of there, redbud heartwood out of there before it goes completely bad. I was telling you about making a standalone feeder here, and this little rig right here scared Gretel. I need to put that over the fence so I know it's over there. Anyhow, this little pan here was part of a cooker, and it fits inside this little box. From here to here is one piece, and this piece comes off, and then this piece from here to here is bolted down and welded together. It's on legs, and then the cement blocks are dropped in there just as weight ballast to keep it from being easily turned over. And I dropped in some plywood so that when I pour feed, this is really tight fit. Yeah, and so I pour the feed down in there, and it gets that all done. I started on a project that I have not yet finished, and that is there's going to be a feeder trough right where between Chestnut and Mr. O'Malley, going that direction over there. There's a board he's crawling under right now, and that board right there between him and Chestnut is where I'm going to put a little concrete wall part way up, and then put that upside down feeder box going to be flipped around and put in there, and that'll be feed for this field where that gate is, and then I'll do a better job of fencing it. I got to repair the roof, stand that out, make it where it's got more rainproof shelter for the babies and so forth. The idea is to have a good inside loafing area that they can stand in out of the rain, and it'll end up probably wind protected with more sheet metal. Turns out I'm going to have to take my fencing mechanism, my gate over here, down. I don't know any reason in my head that I can come up to justify the bad decision I made here. But I made a really bad decision in how I did this. And so the problem is none of my trucks can get through this gate. It looks all good and tough and rugged and everything, and it is, but it should have been wider than the gate, not narrower. But it was put together before the gate was even put up here. And that gate I was showing you earlier that's down on beside that other truck frame is going to end up going in here, and it'll be probably as far as that wooden knot right there. If you look at that in a line from there over, then it'll be wide enough, just wide enough for the trucks to all go through here. And these trees are coming down anyhow, at least that big oak and that other oak, and then it's all going to be dug out with the track loader and cleaned up and made into a useful place. But this is going to be a loading chute and handling a staging area too. But anyhow, I'm going to try to preserve that what's left of that persimmon tree, because it does bear fruit. It's the only fruiting persimmon tree on the land. A lot of this is going to be taken down. This old fence is tore up, and I'm going to reroute some of it. I did do some other similar repair work like this on the other side, but it's nothing to comment about at the moment. It's just a piece of wire strung up in space, so I'm not going to go into great detail about it because it's far from a finished project. You know what I think I'm going to do? No, I'm not going to go through there. I was going to go through there and go in the other side, but where Chestnut's at, but I'm not going to do that today. So I'll probably just edit this section out and fast forward to oh yeah, there was a tree here arched over the road at one point. There's a guy that drives delivery, comes screaming through here all the time. Crashed his delivery truck into it, knocked it down, so I had to drag it away. I don't miss the tree per se. Knew it had to go out eventually, but that happened here over the summer. A guy went screaming through here and smashed his truck into the tree and knocked it down on the road. And it didn't stop him. He got that fixed and smashed it again already. There's another power cord that I was talking about. That's a 3-phase power cord for that extension cord that I was mentioning. Mention extension. Yeah. So, moving closer in, I think we're just about done with most of the new developments for this year. Of course, Gretel's in here. She had been in quarantine because she got sick and she was getting beaten up and she couldn't manage her own baby, and she's small and timid, so she ended up being on the outside. That's why you see her over there crying at me. Alright, you'd never know it, but this is a different table than what was in here. There was a old, cheaply made particle board table, and as I knew would happen, eventually the water got to it, and it rotted and collapsed, and so I put in some blocks and some plywood for the moment, till I can rig up a better feeder reservoir somehow, which will probably be over here. Another one of those lights. I put it over here for this project. You see the concrete blocks are on their side. Instead of standing up, I tear out all that and put it in with that pony wall and line it all up and make it work. Chestnut, what you doing, Chestnut? Yes, what you doing? Babies. And I put a light up there, and it kind of gives a night light. My overhead drip plastic is giving out with age. Just shows that even under shade, it isn't immune to destruction. I'll have to take it down. Like I said, I got to rebuild this whole thing. See if I can recover my rope and save it for more work like that. Music is now what you doing. She got out when she was in heat and just left her in there because it keeps the boys happy that they have a girl. Excuse me. Anyhow, so Gretel, excuse me. Yeah, she's probably pregnant. There she is. I didn't want her to be pregnant, but all I can care right now is hopefully it does better. This over here, I had to safety this because it was so full of manure. You see where the manure hide is. And you couldn't get in here. This is slick and snotty and everything. And so I had to cut it open and put blocks in here for a step. Candy. Yeah. So some of the babies are in here. One of her kids jumped over that roof that I put in for water over there. And in the process, she's in with the other girls. That piece of sheet metal is where the other girl got out with her son. Unfortunately, her son got sick and died. Come on, let's go. Where you bet? So that's Snowflake and Raindrop. Those are past year's babies. And then Rototiller back in the back is this year's babies. All the boys, I've left the horns on them. They'll be going to market. Yeah, there's Rototillers. Oh, she's got, looks like she's got an infection on her face. I can see it's getting, yeah. Sometimes you gotta react fast to catch it on video. They're down in that low spot because I've been trying to clean that out so that they don't have so much poop in their water at the moment. She's still got something wrong with her leg, don't know what it is. She walks around on it, it's cramped all the time. She gets around, but she's probably in pain. But I can't afford to do anything about it, so she's just unfortunately stuck with it. She's trying to eat my hands. Somehow or another, I'm the food. Yes. Anyhow, so there's 10 in here, 6 in there, 3 out there. Total of 19, or 20 before White Oak died. Overall, like I say, there's wire up here. I put a gate in here so that it keeps keeps Gretel in and keeps others out. Because for a while the big boys would come right in here and harass the other girls and potentially breed them out in season and breed their own daughters, which too much inbreeding becomes a problem. Okay, I failed to collect grapes this year because of the timing of when they got ripe and all the garbage, so I missed out. Had a lot of beautiful grapes out and I missed them all. The critters got a lot of them just sat there and timed out on the vine. Yowie willing, maybe next year I'll get some. The vine is big and strong and healthy, so hopefully I'll get some. Excuse me. I'm going to send that down to the shop, dump it out. It's moldy olives that have kind of gone bad. Alright, hopefully I'm going to strike for the background music. Mom has now 3 amaryllis plants. One flowered very briefly, but it was too dry and it didn't flower very well. she's got a bunch of African violets she's doing. This is some of the pickled tomatoes that I'm working on from those tomato vines I was telling you about. This right here, believe it or not, is cucumbers, cucumber butter. Kind of tastes a lot like blackstrap molasses right now. And here I've got candied watermelon with clove. Am I on to zoom in or? Yeah, figures. Anyhow, so I've got candied watermelon going on here. And then over here I've got some of the very last bit of the Siobhan from the billy goat we butchered here back a while ago. It's nice and tender. It's pretty much done. And some vegetables from the store and potatoes. And then this is some of that caramel I cooked up a few years ago. It tastes great, but can't eat very much of it at one time. Out here in the greenhouse. So she got that fern here a while ago, not too long ago. It seems to be doing okay. She's got lots and lots, and this is a harder to, I guess not so much harder to come by form of wandering Jew than the one we have. We got the big bulky one that everybody knows mostly about. And then some of the spider plants have survived being outside. The goats got out and ate them. They need to be repotted real bad. So Mom's been kind of poking around trying to work at planting these things. It looks like something dug around in the roots, I'm not for sure. Looks like, I don't know, rodents, because I had something digging around out here too. And here, we've got another one of those, a geranium? Anyhow, whatever it is. And then this plant with some kind of, similar to an elephant ear. Pink princess philodendron. Okay. Got the surviving mother-in-law's plants out here that hopefully will grow and make more. And then there's a little cactus tree. This is, I mean, not cactus, palm tree. This is the oldest cactus on the property, and it's 30 or 40 years old. It's not as big as it was because it lost a section of itself during a freeze. Up on that shelf between those two mirrors there used to be a non-variegated spider plant that has mysteriously disappeared. Nobody seems to know where it went. Do not know how that happens or doesn't happen, but anyhow, some of these are recent seedlings that they've been outside. They're over a year old, some of them, except for the one that's really tall and leggy looking. That's one that Mom planted that took off and looks bigger than some of the other ones, but it's spindly. Anyhow, so these avocado trees need a good greenhouse. These pineapples are, again, grown from tops, and they are like going on 3 years old now. They haven't decided to flower. But, you know, what can I say? I got lots of normal wandering Jew in here. I mean, lots of it. These have been repotted before because of the fact that they are they're too big for their britches, too big for their bucket. Some potato vines that apparently got cold enough to have suffered frost damage recently. Of course, my makeshift insulation that I need to put up is back down. I tried to save some cuttings from the frosted out tomato vines, but they never rerooted, so I just need to throw that away. So the potatoes in there, a couple generations worth, are growing in just kind of compost, not any real soil per se. And then this thing here, it's, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, maybe. This is like 13, 14 years old. I'm not sure. All the spider plants in here, as long as I keep them watered, they grow like weeds. And there's some potato plant seedlings in here. Don't know if any of them have come to the surface yet, or if they will. Some of them, though, were sprouted, so I put them all in here, just so that if they did sprout, they'd be able to manage the winter in a safe environment. So, I don't know yet. And I did recently give them some triple superphosphate, just so that they'll have rooting excitement. There's another grapefruit here. There's a few of them around. And then there's some elephant garlic that keeps coming back, but never very well. All that stuff needs to be taken out of there and put in good, high-quality soil. But, you know, what it needs and what it gets, two different things. This is a pecan tree that came from a seed that came from some hay that I bought from the same gentleman from a previous year. It was really old rotten hay, and it had the pecan seeds in there. Two of them were in here that were germinated, but one got damaged and failed. This one grew for a while, almost died from dryness over the summer, but it's still alive. It went into dormancy. I brought it in here just so that it wouldn't, because I don't have it in the ground. I don't want the roots to freeze. So that's why it's in here. Otherwise, I'd have it somewhere set out outside with just some armor against deer and goats. I can't think of anything else anywhere going on that I can update. Oh yeah, I got this pasta machine just the other day when I got the freezer. Whole kit, that was $12. I don't know if I showed anybody this pasta maker. I've actually used it once already. Made some noodles with it. Works really well. I don't remember when we got this blender set. It's a really complicated, sophisticated, really big, elaborate 50s model type Oster kitchen center. There's another one. See, we got two of them. This one here is chrome. More of the deluxe model, I guess. And then that one there is that weird beige kitchen color. They come with this meat grinder thing, and then some other stuff. We've had people ask me if I was going to sell it. No, I got it to use it. This is effectively, it's essentially a triple boiler steamer. She got this at the thrift store too. It's got this basket. Then it's got that basket. Looks like it needs a little derusting. And then it's got a pot. And so that's a pretty deluxe model thing too. She got that for pretty cheap over at the thrift store too. She gets a lot of good, cool stuff at the thrift store. I use that popcorn maker now and then when I'm in a mood for popcorn. I've used this veg fruit slicer. Everything you see here is from a thrift store. Everything. That Bissell thing, that's from the thrift store. The ice cream maker. I think the only thing it may not be is some of the crock pots. Because apparently they just don't end up in the thrift store very often. But everything else you see here, the griddles, the waffle irons. See, this blender is part of this assembly, as is. It's got a bearing table. It's got a food processor. I use that for making pickles and making slaw and kraut and stuff. I use this stuff. Now, this old Squeezo was bought new long time ago. This is probably 45 years old now, and we use the funnel on it all the time. In fact, more than the rest of it, mostly just because a lot of the food we do doesn't need to have seeds squeezed out and separated from it. That's the main reason. This place last year was a cluttered up mess. That's another thing. It was a real cluttered up mess, and she's gone through here and put all these flowers and plants and jars and things in here. These were covered up with stuff. They were just back here in dry storage, basically. Someday, hopefully, they'll go back in the living room. That's the thing. This place has changed so much in the past year since Mom decided it was time to do things. Even I've changed. I've gone down from going around 275. I've gone down to 235. You know, especially since the surgery, 40 pounds closer to my goal. So, Mom keeps some of her clothes out here because, well, space constraints. She got herself a fish tank that she wanted to make a little pretty atrium or what you call it in there, but never finished. And it's apparently not big enough for all her decorative stuff, but she's got cute little things to put together. I found this out in the field somewhere, rotted old tree stump. She put chickens in it, and I thought that was cute too. I brought it home because it had so much character to it. It looks almost like something from science fiction. It's just a knot that the tree died and the knot was left. So kind of like a burl, and so it makes a really nifty little thing. I probably am forgetting a lot of things. Again, she cleaned all this stuff up a lot in here. I really can't remember everything that's happened over the years. Oh, I did lose one of those bags full of soy that I've still got to use to make noodles with. But, so I'm down to 150 pounds of that, and I don't know how much will last long enough for me to eventually, flower moths got into it and did a lot of damage to some of it. So, I may have to end up throwing more of it away. But I taped up that box because it was just really rough handled. And I don't know that kept the bugs out, but it didn't keep it out of the other one because I had to throw it away. It was just completely unusable at all. They'd gotten all through it. But anyhow, that is going to be my complete report of what I can think of that has happened between 2024 and 2025 that comes to mind. And just the highlights anyway. So, till next year, this is my report.